And now what about a fully armored target? I'm still going to shoot chest shots just to see how quickly it goes down. I mean, 6 bullets, and I think I even hit some arm shots in there. That's insane, man. I mean, this weapon is going to be something unreal. Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today's video, we're going to be breaking down the brand new FAMAS in PUBG, giving you a quick tutorial on how to properly use that weapon, and I'm going to be showing you a quick comparison between the AUG and the M4, given both weapons have recently seen some changes, so I can show you guys which one you should be using. Let's jump in. All right, guys, so first up, let's do a quick recap of the brand new FAMAS weapon, which is going to be crate only. This is going to be replacing the AUG in the crates. So it's a new 5.56 fully automatic assault rifle, has single fire and burst mode as well. Here's gotta reload it. Here's your single or full auto, excuse me. Gun sounds good. Here's your single fire, burst fire. And then we go back to full auto here. As far as attachments goes, it's pretty limited. You can only put flash hider, compensator, or suppressor on it. So flash hider, compensator, or the suppressor. Suppress sounds good. And then as far as sights, you can do pretty much all of them. You can do a canted sight all the way up to a 6x, or a red dot up to a 6x. And it can take a canted sight, which is really good because if you are going to use it, you know, for sprays, you want to have that canted sight equipped. And the canted sight, just remember, allows you to zoom in and out faster on your 6x and even on snipers like 8x's and 15x's. So always good to have that equipped. And obviously, since we're in Vikende, you have thermal scope available, so you could do thermal for mid to long range, and then, you know, canted for close range. So a very versatile AR. Now for a quick review of the damage stats of FAMAS, it has 39 damage per bullet, which is actually kind of low for an assault rifle, but it has a 900 rounds per minute rate of fire, which is extremely fast. One of the fastest shooting weapons in the game, period. That gives it a damage per second of 585, which is very, very good, very respectable. Only has a 30 round magazine with no attachment slot for an extended mag, extended quick draw, or even a regular quick draw magazine to give it that faster reload speed. So that is one downside to it. However, with that damage per second and rate of fire, it has a 0.17 second time to kill, so less than 0.2 of a second to kill an unarmored target. I mean, this thing is going to shred your enemies. I mean, deletes them, absolutely deletes them. And now what about a fully armored target? I'm still going to shoot chest shots just to see how quickly it goes down. I mean, 6 bullets, and I think I even hit some arm shots in there, which you know is going to do less damage because of the, you know, the limb penetration. So that's insane, man. I mean, this weapon is going to be something unreal. If you can pick this up in a crate, you'd be foolish not to. All right, now let's take a look at the muzzle attachments for the FAMAS, and this is actually something that's going to be applying to all weapons. If you remember, about a year ago, I did a video on ultimate attachment guide for PUBG. I'll link that up above or down below. But since that video, PUBG has made a number of changes to the attachments, and I think that warrants a new look at all attachments in the game. And take a look, here's why. So the FAMAS, again, can only have a muzzle attachment, so no grip or tactical stock, nothing like that, right? So the flash hider, which we all know is going to reduce the muzzle flash of the weapon, making it much harder to see when you're shooting from any kind of distance, or especially at nighttime like on Vikende. But it also does reduce horizontal and vertical recoil, and you can see here it says that it gives you a plus 10% on a horizontal and vertical recoil control. Now, previously, the myth, which we've tested on a number of weapons, was that the suppressor gave you the same adjustments as a flash hider in terms of the recoil control, but it also made your weapon sound very hard to distinguish as far as how far away you were or what direction you were. But look at it now. The suppressor reduces weapon sound and gives you a +5 on hip fire accuracy, but makes no mention of horizontal or vertical recoil control. That's pretty damn huge. Compensator, +10 horizontal recoil control, but +15 on a vertical recoil control. So it gives you even better up and down vertical control in your weapon. Now, here's the thing that is kind of odd to me. In parentheses on all of those attachments, it says This stat may differ depending on the attached weapon. Why? Why is that a thing? Because now that's going to leave you guessing like, oh man, is this weapon the one to use a suppressor with? So that's interesting they put that there, but let's just do a quick test. No attachment, flash hider, suppressor, and compensator. Let's see if it's noticeable. So no attachment, I'll be crouch shooting, which is what you always should be doing in PUBG. So we'll crouch from say about here, and I'll focus on like let's say this dot. This will be the target dot. So no attachment, crouch shot, FAMAS. Okay, very clean recoil pattern too. Oh my god, it's up and down. I mean, like that's pretty. All right, here we go. Flash hider. Big improvement there. Big improvement there to the vertical. Arguably, the horizontal's about the same, if not worse, but yeah. Suppressor. Yeah, interesting. Interesting. So the suppressor actually, you can see kind of just went wild there to the left and is noticeably higher up than the control on the flash hider, but it was lower overall than the no attachment. That was interesting. Okay, and then let's do compensator. They're starting to disappear here, so we'll refresh them real quick. And then compensator. Oh yeah, you can immediately tell in the compensator. Look at that. The fun thing is that no matter what attachment you go with, they're all really good for the FAMAS. So that's the good news. No matter which one you choose, the compensator, the suppressor, or the flash hider, even if you don't have any of them, the weapon is still very manageable to control, and it's going to have incredible damage. But that little test just showed that for sure you're going to want the compensator, and you know, if you have a flash hider versus a suppressor, you're going to want to go with the flash hider. You know, ultimately you want to go with the flash hider. The only way that I would say maybe not flash hider and go suppressor is because the fact that the suppressor fully eliminates your muzzle flash and it reduces your sound. And where that can be beneficial is if you're in scenarios where you're like behind cover slightly, maybe your character's in a bush, maybe you're prone, and it's going to be a little harder for that enemy target to snap onto you if you're shooting from behind cover versus if you had, you know, a compensator and you're shooting. You're going to be, you see the muzzle flash there? It'd be very obvious as to where you're shooting from. Now, on the flip side, for DMRs, even though you're going to lose that recoil control that these attachments give you, for DMRs and snipers, I still think a suppressor is really powerful because it makes you almost invisible to the enemy if you're in a good enough position. Now, one other important stat to remember when picking up the FAMAS is that because the weapon has a higher rail system where your muzzle is compared to where your sight goes, that is going to change how you need to aim the weapon in shorter distances. By default, all sights in PUBG are zeroed into 100 meters, but if you're closer than 100 meters, you'll see that your bullet never really hits right where your aimer is. So take a look here. So if you're ADS, I'm going to put the crosshair right above this white line here. Now watch this. See where the shot's going? Much lower than where I'm aiming. And that's normal, but it's accentuated more because of that weapon's rail system. Now, a weapon like the AUG, where the sight is actually much closer to where the actual muzzle is, you'll see the difference here. See that? That little bit of difference can mean the difference of you missing your headshot or not on your enemy, because you might be actually aiming at the target's head and you're actually going to be hitting neck shot or chest shots, which do significantly less damage. Now, again, the further away you get from that target, the more this lines up naturally, just because of the way the gun's zeroed in. So you see that bullet hit just a little bit below that. And if you go a little further back, it's the same thing. Go a little further back, that bullet's going to hit pretty much exactly where you're aiming the closer you get to 100 meters. Okay, so that's just a little nugget of information to remember when using the FAMAS, and that also applies to the Graza and the QBZ on Sanhok, because those have the higher rail mounted sights. Now, with that out of the way, let's go ahead and take a look at the AUG versus the M4. All right, so crouch shooting, AUG, compensator, half grip. The M4 has a heavy stock attached to it, which is going to be the one you want to prefer if you're a full auto firing. So let's take a look. I'm going to zero in for this little guy right here, and we'll let it rip. Very good recoil pattern. Move over a little bit here for the M4. I mean, like I said, look at the up. I mean, the AUG is more controllable. The AUG has a higher rate of fire, higher damage per bullet, higher damage per second, lower time to kill. I mean, there really is just no reason to justify someone picking up the M4 over the AUG unless you just, maybe you just love the M4. Maybe you have the Halloween skin, or you have the brand new Phoenix Contraband crate skin like a lot of us have on the live server. So those are obviously reasons why you could and should use the M4, because it's certainly not a bad weapon. It's very viable and very usable still. But if I'm being honest with you guys, just looking at the stats, there isn't any reason statistically why someone should use the M4 over the AUG. Now, I'm sure some of you in chat are still going to say, well, I just prefer the M4, and that is also fine. You might actually be better with the M4 simply because you use it more. It's a world spawn. You're very used to the recoil pattern. And keep in mind, I just did one single spray test there, but PUBG doesn't have one recoil pattern for every weapon. Each weapon actually has multiple recoil patterns. So if you do like 5 sprays in a row, you'll notice that the recoil changes a bit from spray to spray. So sometimes you get an up and down. Sometimes you get a little more horizontal kick in there. Sometimes you get a little weapon sway added. That's the beauty of PUBG, is that, it's never exactly identical every time you spray the gun. But in general, the AUG is going to be the one you should choose. All right, guys, so a quick recap and review. If you come across a FAMAS in game, pick it up and use it. You are not going to be disappointed. It is going to be the new meta weapon in the game for sure. If you have an M4 and you come across an AUG, pick it up for sure. There's no reason to not pick up the AUG, again, unless you're just a huge M4 fan and you've got that recoil dialed in and you think you're just going to miss your shots if you use the AUG. But I would argue, practice using the AUG. That gun is going to dominate the battlegrounds for the foreseeable future. I'll leave you guys with that. Let me know in the comments below, what are you thinking about the FAMAS? What do you think about the nerf and balance changes to the AUG and M4? And which one are you going to pick up when you see it in the battlegrounds next? Thanks for watching, guys. Leave a like if you enjoyed it, comment, and get subscribed for more PUBG content. Make sure to use creator code CDome at checkout if you want to support me at no extra cost to yourself. Take care, guys. Peace.